Hi, I'm Janet Glynn. Welcome to the 2021 Saturday Sampler here at Close to Home in Southington. So brand new year and a few different things that we're going to try for 2021. So as you can see, our blocks will all be shades of gray, 50 shades of gray. And what we're going to do is we are not going to be putting borders on because with COVID, we're not coming in to put our name in a bucket to get any free gifts or anything like that. So you can, on your own, pick some borders that we've done in the past, but this year we're just leaving a 12-inch block. Okay? What is a little bit different about this block is we are trying something new, and we're going to try substituting a color, a little splash of color that you enjoy. So in this case, we've substituted this taupe fabric where my medium gray circles go. Okay? We substituted this two colors of teal, again, where these circles go, and also in the center. And then one more I'd like to show you just for a reference is we've substituted, again, two colors of yellow. There's a stripe and a solid, and the blocks north, south, east, and west have been turned 180 degrees just for a little bit of a difference. So we're playing around a little bit with the blocks. You're making them a little more personal, a little bit more of your own. You will get all the fabrics in your kit to make the gray block. But I would recommend that you buy the fabrics to switch it up a little bit. I'm suggesting if you're getting one fabric, get a yard of that one fabric and place it wherever you'd like. If you're getting more than one fabric, 2, 3, 4, however many you'd like, I suggest getting half yard of those. Okay? All right, so this is our block. It's a very simple square and a square unit and a quarter square unit, okay, with our center square. So the cutting on these is the light gray. We have a 15-inch strip of fabric. You're going to cut a strip that's 2.5 and a strip that's 2 7/8. The 2.5 strips are all going to be for the quarter square triangle units. These 2 7/8 you're going to cut into 4 squares and cut them in half on the diagonal. The medium gray, the ones with the circles, whoops, sorry, the medium gray, oops, that's backwards. This is not circles here, this is circles. Sorry. Okay, so the medium gray is 2 strips at 2.5 and 2.5. So again, my quarter square triangles are right here, and these are my mediums. Okay, and they're pretty solid, like a Toscana Northcott solid medium gray. Okay, the medium gray circles, we're going to cut a 4.5-inch square. That's for our block center, and 4 3 3/8 squares. Those medium gray circles are going in the center and in the center of my square and the squares. So again, you can continue to make your blocks exactly like shown, or you can substitute, for instance, where I did these, I substituted my 3 3/8 square and a square centers for an optional color. Okay? And then the last one is the dark gray, and there's going to be 2 strips of dark gray. The first strip is 2.5, again for the quarter square triangles, which I'll show you, and the 2 7/8, you need 4 squares at 2 7/8 cut on the diagonal once. All right, and those dark squares, the quarter squares, this is my 2.5-inch strip to make the companion angles, and of course my 2 7/8 cut on the diagonal to make my square and a square. Okay, a lot going on. So let's go over and put a couple square and a squares together and a couple companion angle quarter square triangle units, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on. Okay, so the first thing we want to do with the companion angle is we want to take our 2.5-inch strips. Remember, we had 2 mediums, we had a dark and a light. I'm going to take my mediums and just place them right on top of the light, and I'm going to take the medium and place it on top of the dark. All right, once I get these set up, I'm going to be cutting quarter square triangles using the companion angle. So if you recall, the companion angle, very simple to get quarter square triangles by using this ruler, just by looking down the side of the ruler for the finished triangle base size. So let's go right back up to my pictures again. This is a 9 patch in a 12-inch finished square. So each of these squares are going to finish at 4 inches. So my quarter square triangle, the base of the triangles is finished at 4 inches. All right, so that's when we look back at our companion angle to look at the finished base size of 4 inches, and it tells me right underneath how wide to cut my strips. All right, so I'm going to be cutting my strips at 2.5 inch, which I gave you in the directions, but I would like you to use the companion angle more than just once. So if you're looking to do quarter square triangles, figure out what the base size of your square is going to be, and you'll know how wide to cut your strips. So today we're cutting them 2.5. So we're going to place the blunt side of our companion angle at the top of our strip. So the top of my strip has this blunt side of the companion angle, and notice it's facing me, facing upright, and the solid line under my 4-inch finished base reads at 2.5. So this is the bottom of my strip. So we're simply going to trim off the first angle, and the second angle will make my first pair. Okay, so let's put these here. We're going to rotate our companion angle 180 degrees, line up the blunt side with the bottom of my strip, this side along the side I just cut, and of course the bottom strip along where it says 2.5 or 4 here. It's all right, don't move it. All right, and we're going to cut 4 of these. So I'll cut this one. I'm going to turn it, and we're going to do the same thing with the next strip set. Okay, so, all right, so we're going to stack these up with the medium grays, with the blunt edge all going up on at the top, all the medium gray, wrong sides facing up. So remember, we have the light one as well, and I'll just do one of these just to show you. Same thing, we're going to put our strips together. Blunt side goes up at the top. We're going to cut our excess piece off the end and get our first light gray, medium gray quarter square triangle. These are all done with our 2.5-inch strips. All right, so we're just going to continue to do those until we have our 8 units all set up, okay? So the next thing you want to do is sew your quarter square triangles on the right-hand side. So if this was facing, the camera was facing, this side is my right-hand side. So I'm going to sew from the blunt side, 1/4 inch, right down to the end. Each one on the right-hand side, doesn't matter if it has the dark gray under it or it has the light gray. Okay, so let's sew a unit together. So I'm just going to pick this up. Again, we're starting to sew at the blunt edge down the right-hand side of our unit. Okay, so I'll put that under. Got my quarter inch foot on. And my line is just a typical straight edge, and I'm going right against the side of my foot. And we can chain piece all 8 of these units at one time, but I'm going to do one dark gray and one light gray so I can put an actual quarter square triangle together for you. So just keep feeding these in, blunt edge first, always sewing at the right side. Okay, we'll trim these apart. And we're going to press all of these toward the medium gray. Okay, so remember the rule. If I'm pressing toward the medium gray is on the top. I'll give it a little bit of heat. And we're just going to press it up over to the medium gray. A little bit of heat on that one. Press it. So now we have 2 half triangles, and we're going to rotate these so that they're opposite. I have the medium triangles on the sides and the light and the dark opposite. So when I put these together, my seam has been pressed to the medium in this direction and the medium to that direction. So we're going to lock those seams, feel for the bump, make sure they're nice and nested, very close together, and we'll go ahead and now sew this at 1/4 inch. These 2 pieces should sit right on top of each other. Okay? So let's go sew that, and we'll have our quarter square triangle. Okay, once I get started, I want to make sure that I'm locking my seam. I just nest them right together. And you'll have a great intersection when you open up your quarter square triangle block. Okay, so all the way down. Cut. And now we're going to press this to one side. All right. So we're going to make 4 of these units. And again, think about which one you may want to substitute your 2.5 inch strip for. And that would come out with the quarter square triangle. The last thing I want to talk about is the square and a square. Again, these 3 3/8 squares are the centers of my square and a square, where the 2 7/8 squares cut on the diagonal once go on the opposite side. So here's what we're going to do. I need 2 darks and 2 lights, and I'm going to fold the center square of the square and a square unit, and I'm just going to pinch so I have an idea where the center is. I'll take one of my black triangles, fold it in half, give that a good press with my fingers, and again, it's the longest side of my triangle is where I'm trying to get that little press mark. So I'm going to line up the center here with that crease in the center of this one. So we'll just put those right on top of each other, and you can see how they're hanging off just slightly on either side. When I sew 1/4 inch, it's going to go straight across here. I'll find the center of the next one, the center of this one, and I'll put those together, and we'll sew opposite sides first. All right, so let's get that going. Match up my crease marks. Go straight across, get everything nice and lined up. Remember, when you're piecing, the raw edges should be right on top of each other, okay? One shouldn't be over slightly from the other. They should be right on top of each other. It's right here. So I found the center of this square and a square, and I made the little mark on this one, so I can lay those right on top of each other. And go ahead and sew those. And we're going to press these toward the, away from the square toward the triangles. Okay. So again, a little bit of heat. Flipping our units up. And again, think about which one of these you could substitute in the future. All right, I'm going to find the center of this. Do the same with the lights, and we're going to put the lights together. Just like that. We're going to sew from this little notch straight over to that notch, and that will make for a nice even edge on our square and a square. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing to this one. So with a few little time constraints, you know what to do. Go ahead and sew those and press again toward the light gray. Okay, so now we have 4 quarter squares. We have 4 square and a squares. It's up to you how you might like to turn these. This is the block. These are the fabrics you're going to get. The dark and the medium have circles. The light and the other medium gray are pretty solid. So when you're adding a fabric to go with your square, you might want to consider something that reads a little bit solid, just to keep the tone down a little bit. You can add a little bit of punch if you like. And I'll put these up. Add a little bit of some stripes to it if you'd like, but kind of keep the tones going. And here's the last one that we've done, and that's the teal. So I like the fact that it's got a little bit of light and a little bit of dark on my taupes. Again, I picked a little light and a little dark, and we can use these in the borders. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the border around the entire quilt. I will give you directions to put sashing between your blocks and yardage for that, and also I will give you the directions to put an inner border in, and then the very last border. It's a combination of the grays and your color in blocks. Some are square, some are rectangular. They're very varied going around the entire quilt. So we do have fat quarters available in all the grays that we're using for oops kits. If you mess up on a dark gray, please come in, pick up some fat quarters of the grays. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is coming in for your kit. So 2020, you know, with the COVID-19, that was a little, nobody really knew what was going on. 2021, we're going to get back to basics again. I know we can't meet here because of the COVID-19, but we are going to reinstate that you need to bring your finished block in to get your free kit. It could be any time during the month, whenever you're ready to pick up your next kit. It doesn't have to be on that Friday, on the second Saturday of the month, that Friday before, but certainly bring in your block to get your free kit. So we are instituting that back in, and I hope that everybody can keep up with the blocks. If you'd like, we can of course come out to the car and see your block and give you your kit as well. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was my favorite color is Moda. I'm still waiting on a couple bolts to get the bundles together for my favorite colors Moda. An email was sent out recently to sign up. It's really a fun quilt to do, lots of blocks, 36 different blocks. They've broken them down monthly, so it is kind of a block of the month. So we hope you will participate in my favorite color is Moda. If you have any questions, let us know. Everybody pays $10 for the January kit. Most of you have. If you haven't, and you still want to sign up, you see what the colors are. I hope you'll come in and join us for 2021. If there's any questions, let us know. 860-793-6639. We'd be happy to answer your questions. And Happy New Year.